Are we live?
We are.
Cool.
Well, not live, but we're recording.
Could you imagine if we had to do this live? Oh my gosh. Today we're making a delicious crispy skin chicken in cast iron with an amazing pan sauce. Simple, delicious, fills the house with amazing smells. It's got great depth of flavor. I'll show you how to break down the chicken. Anatomy of a chicken. You've got your 2 wings, 2 breasts, legs, thigh and thigh. And what we want to do is we're going to remove the backbone of the bird here. And it's really simple. We save the liver, the heart, and the kidney. We're going to use that in our pan sauce a little bit later. You're just going to find where the backbone meets the thigh here. You're going to go straight up the back. Okay, all the way up on one side of the neck, through that collar and wishbone. We're going to do the same thing on this side. You can save this neck and this backbone for chicken stock or chicken sauce. Once you're cut open, you have this breastplate here, and this is just going to run down the center of the bird and through the breast. So I'm just going to cut here. This is kind of like what you call the chest plate or the keel bone there. Now that we're all open and exposed, I actually want to move this. We'll do the rest of the work with a knife. So then it's just about making one clean cut. Now when you get to the top of the breast here, you're gonna have that wishbone. We're gonna leave it, just split. I like to take the wing, just fold it back and on itself like this so that it's nice and tight there. We're just gonna take some buttermilk. So this is buttermilk that I made, and all I did was I took whole milk, let's say 2 cups of whole milk and about 2 tablespoons of white wine vinegar. So we're just gonna pour this over the chicken like so. We'll put in a little bit of fresh thyme just to kind of steep into that buttermilk. I have a laurel or a bay leaf that we'll put in as well. So I know that I have both halves of the chicken in here. Today I'm only gonna cook one. I'll save the other one for later use. So we're gonna go ahead and allow this to marinate overnight for 24 hours. We'll put it in the fridge. We'll come back and we'll visit it again tomorrow. 24 hours later, here we are. We've got our chicken that's been soaking in this homemade buttermilk, thyme, and bay leaf. The skin is really wet, and in order for that skin to get nice and crispy, I feel that it's really important to dry the skin really well, just to get all that residual buttermilk off. I'll pull my chicken out maybe about an hour or so before I'm ready to cook it. I'll pat the skin dry like I'm doing now, and then I'll just allow this to sit for about an hour and just allow that skin to dry even more, and then I'll pat it dry one more time. And we're gonna hit it really generously with some salt. Flip it over. We've got our cast iron skillet. It's rocking over like medium-high heat. And what you want to use here is you want to use like any neutral cooking oil. If you have like an animal fat, pork lard, bacon grease, second choice would be like a high smoke point neutral cooking oil. If you've watched any of my other videos, you will have seen maybe the garlic confit video. I'm a big fan of it and I love the garlic oil, so today I'm going to sear the chicken in the garlic oil. We're going to add about a tablespoon or 2, just enough to coat the bottom of the pan here. That sizzle is exactly what we're looking for. We're gonna take our chicken skin side down. I'm gonna drop the chicken in. So I like to use a fish spatula or like a big offset as I'm doing this, and just every so often I'm just gonna go back through. I'm gonna give this a really firm press. Essentially, we're just looking for nice, really golden brown, delicious skin. I'm gonna give it a minute. Pan sauce, to me, is the most like genuine or honest of sauces because you're building blocks based on whatever meat that you seared in the pan. Today, I'm gonna make my pan sauce with some mushroom stems, some shallots, some garlic, a little bit of fresh herb, and then I have the offal from the chicken, so the liver, the heart, and the kidney. So I'm just gonna pull this out now that our skin's nice and crispy, and I'm gonna start my sauce. We're just gonna go right in the cast iron with it. Give it a nice little season of salt. We want to get a really nice dark sear on that. And in the meantime, I've got some whole shallot. We're just going to top and tail, cut in half. So the shallot, we just want big pieces. It's just going to flavor the sauce. I have some whole fresh garlic. We'll just maybe do like 3 cloves. So skin on, back of the knife. Just give a nice good smash. Offal meat seared, shallots and garlic, mushroom stems, some whole fresh thyme, another fresh bay leaf, and some butter. Some whole butter. Because we're going to actually allow the butter to brown, and it's just going to continue to add depth of flavor. Straightforward. This is honest cooking right here. No fuss, no muss. We're just continuing to brown everything. So next step is we're going to go ahead and deglaze the bottom of this. What I have here is my homemade chicken stock. We have a recipe that might be coming to you in the near future for that. If you don't have homemade chicken stock, there are great substitutions out there. You can use a nice organic chicken broth. We're going to go ahead and add it to the bottom of the pan. We're just going to kind of give a light scrape just to bring all this stuff up from the bottom of the pan. I just want to bring this up to a boil before I put it in the oven. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put this chicken back in like so. I'm going to put it skin side up because I want to maintain this nice crispy skin the whole time the chicken's cooking. And I also want to put that leg meat and the breast down in this broth. So as this skin is staying crispy and cooking in a dry oven, you have moist heat that's hitting the leg, the thigh, and the breast so that it doesn't dry out in the cooking process. I'm going to give it another pat of butter, another tablespoon or so. Just allow that to melt in. And then I'm going to take it to a 450-degree convection oven. This is probably going to cook for 45 minutes. All right, we're about 30 minutes in. Just checking on our bird here, seeing how it's doing. I'll give it about another 15 minutes or so. And we might be about ready. I'm just going to give it a nice little baste. Go right back in the oven with it. I took the chicken out of the oven and I've got a cake tester, and I put that cake tester all the way to the thigh bone. I'm gonna hold it up just to the bottom of my lip here and just kind of see what the temperature is. If it's still cold, I just put raw chicken all over my face, and the chicken's not done yet. If the cake tester is hot, it should be pretty darn close to ready. It's like the difference between using something that's calculated versus feel. Like there's some nostalgia that's associated with it. It's, it's also being able to cook anything anywhere with a simple piece of metal in your hands rather than using a thermometer. But if you want to look at the real science behind it, the head on a cake tester is really small, and so I'm poking really small holes into the piece of meat that I'm testing, whereas a thermometer is probably 10 times that size. So if you're only cooking a small piece of meat, it doesn't make a lot of sense. If you've got to check this piece of meat 2 or 3 times, now all of a sudden you have 2 or 3 pretty good sized holes in it. It is hot. I'm gonna give it another 2 minutes for safe measure. Call her good. What I want to do now is we're going to finish our sauce, and we're going to allow our bird to rest. I'm going to go ahead and go medium-high heat here. What I really like to do is I like to add a lot of whole butter to my pan sauces. And it's just going to kind of come down a little bit and thicken in as it goes. In the meantime, I have some fresh chives, a little bit of fresh parsley. We're going to put that over the top of the chicken right before we serve it. All right. So we're just about where we want it. You can see it in my spoon. It still kind of rolls off, but if you show the back of your spoon, it kind of coats it. They call that nappe, to coat the back of a spoon. We want to go just a little thicker. We're going to take a pastry brush. We're going to go ahead and brush that delicious crispy skin with some of this sauce. Chicken's been resting for a few minutes. You can see it's kind of purging some of its clear juices. I'm gonna go ahead and add that to the sauce because it's delicious. So we're gonna go ahead and strain off some of our solids here. Got this carafe, little handheld strainer. I'm gonna go right into it here. And give your strainer a little tap. These mushroom stems really like to hold liquid. So we're just gonna give it a little bit of pressure to get all that liquid gold out of there. Still have our heat. Turn it to like medium low. I'm gonna go back in the pan. Oh my goodness. We're just gonna put our chicken right back in it. Just let it bathe in it. I like to add a little bit of acid to my pan sauces at the very end. So because I'm putting lemon zest on the outside of the chicken, I'm just gonna go ahead and use a little bit of lemon juice. Just kind of really helps round out your flavors. I'm gonna give it a little splash of our garlic oil. Another little pat of butter. We'll just baste the bird. Oh yeah. So good. Toss in your parsley, your chives. Believe it or not, just a pinch of salt, just to help finish it. Give the pan a nice swirl, mix those herbs around. We've got all our herbs in, we're just giving it a couple final baste just to get that parsley and chive nice and drenched all over that skin. All right, last but not least, we've got a little bit of finishing salt. We're gonna go ahead and put it on the skin and some lemon zest. So let's show you how to break her down. It's just gonna kind of want to fall apart on you. We're gonna lift the leg. I'm just gonna kind of make a little cut. It's just almost just gonna just like pull apart for me. I don't really even need my knife. We're just gonna cut some of this breast meat off. I'm gonna try that first. It's awesome. It is so moist, you can like squeeze the juice out of it. The fresh herbs really kind of help cut through some of that richness. The lemon zest is a nice touch for it as well. The chicken's just like so like succulent and moist, it just like wants to fall apart. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is, one of my favorite recipes. This is my go-to for Sunday suppers. I hope you enjoyed watching it and look forward to seeing you next time. Follow us on social media, all the usual suspects, where we share new tips, tricks, and recipes weekly of all my favorite dishes that I love to make at home. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed. Do I have shit all over my face?
No.
I feel like I got herbs and shit all over my teeth.
No.